All right, thank you for coming today. We will start the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. 3 o'clock Wednesday, June 14th, North Annex, Clovis Carver Library, 701 North Main. So to get started, we'll call roll, please.
Vice Chair London, Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Here.
Chairman Sol, Commissioner Garza,
Here.
Commissioner Smith,
Here.
Commissioner Klein,
Here.
Commissioner Stewart.
Okay, so we have 4 here and 3 absent, correct? So we do have a quorum. Approval of the agenda. Motion.
So moved.
A motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Approve the agenda. Approval of the minutes from April 12th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The approval of the April 12th minutes has been approved. So we will move on to new business. First, let's do if you think that you're going to testify today or get up and speak, can you please stand and raise your right hand? All right. Do you swear and affirm that any testimony you give will be truthful? Okay. I don't know if I can trust the guy in the black, but we'll see. All right, so we are going to move on to item A. And let me see. That is a discussion and recommendation regarding a replat of an ABO Highway Subdivision Tract 8. We'll go to Pete Wilt on that one.
Thank you, Commissioner. On page 1 of your packet, you will see our staff report that this subdivision meets all of our standards. All adjoining property owners within 100 feet of that area have been notified. I've had 0 protests, no compelling evidence that would be a threat to public health, safety, or welfare, which is unique to this proposed request. And with that, I will stand for any questions, and Mr. Chad Leidick is here, the engineer that designed this, so if they have any questions, we'll be glad to answer.
Okay. Before we go to questions from the commission, do you want to present on this, Chad?
Nothing further to add at this time, but I will be available to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions from the commission?
I would be more inclined to hear from somebody that has anything to say about that.
Okay, do we have anybody that wants to speak on this specifically today?
Nobody?
Is it on this one? Is it on this specific one right here?
It's just on the bill itself.
Okay, come on up to the podium.
Name?
Name and address, please, sir.
David Roybal, 920 Locust.
Okay, thank you.
I've lived in this neighborhood since '85, and there's been quite a bit of changes. The biggest change is that city personnel doesn't maintain and take care of that side, the hood over there. It's kind of rough. You know, the street sweepers don't come by. The alleys are a mess. And maybe with something like this coming in a little bit newer, will the city be able to keep taking care of it? Can it be upheld? You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And then, it's kind of a little bit of a rough neighborhood. As far as, you know, your drive-bys, your drag racing, the whole 9 yards on this, in that area. But, it's not very well taken care of, you know, according, you know. That's the only thing that I see it every day, and I've seen the changes. I know we have problems with not hiring workers, not having enough workers, not giving them enough pay, and nothing gets taken care of in that area. There's quite a few areas that don't. The city ordinances aren't taken care of at all. There's semis parked on the right-of-way, city right-of-way, can't get into intersections and everything else. And this is one thing that you're talking about safety and keeping everything in good order. I've called, I've made complaints, I've called many times on this stuff, and it's like it can't be taken care of. There's no reasoning. So,
Okay.
you know, it's just a few little things that come to mind.
But as far as the area being developed, you don't have a problem with that? That's the question, and that's what we're gonna
Not
be
really,
acting on?
no.
Okay,
The problem wouldn't be that, it's just that the newer stuff there, it's not gonna be, I have a feeling it won't be very well taken care of,
Okay.
all right,
what I mean?
thank you.
Sir. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
I'm Chad Leidick, the engineer for the owners of this, and I might give a few comments that would help that property owner feel a little bit better. If you'll look on your drawing over there, you see Locust Street coming up from Elm, and if you go north on Locust Street, it intersects with 12th Street. And the adjacent landowner over there, we currently are in construction of putting in curb and gutter and doing those roadways to city standards. So that's gonna open up that area just to the west for single-family residential housing. And the plat that you have before you today is for multifamily housing. And the owner that's doing this is Nick Grego and Sons. And if you guys have noticed around town, they're building lots of these duplexes in various locations around town. They're very nice. They're very well taken care of. And I think this is going to be a real nice addition to that area of town, not only in the multifamily being done by a really good owner, but the installation of Locust Street and 12th Street as well. It's really going to open up that area.
Great, excellent, thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Okay, I have a motion to approve.
Second.
And a second. So I have a motion and a second. Can we get the roll call, please, ma'am?
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Klein.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes 4-0. We'll move on to item B. This is discussion and recommendation regarding a replat for Lot 15, Block 1 of Will Heights Subdivision, Unit 1. We'll go to the city and Pete.
This item is on page 8 of your packet. This request, if you notice, it is on the corner of Gunstock Road and Curry Road K, which is basically right across the street from Gaddis, the new Gaddis Junior High up there. What they're gonna do is turn one lot into two buildable lots, and it meets with all of our comprehensive plan, all of our standards. There was no response for protest, and there is no threat to public health, safety, and welfare. So with that, we'll stand for any questions.
Okay, thanks, sir. Is there anybody here from the public today here to speak on this specific item? No? Great. Do we have any questions from commissioners?
I don't move for approval.
I have no questions and move for approval. Second. And a second. Can we call roll, please, ma'am?
Commissioner Garza,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Klein,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Yes.
And 4-0, the motion passes. Item C is the discussion and recommendation regarding a replat of 1419 East Brady, and 1421 1/2 East Brady. Pete Wilt, what do you got for us?
Thank you, Commissioner. This one is on page 14 of your packet. All adjoining property owners within 100 feet were notified, and again, we had zero response. There's no compelling evidence there would be a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare. And basically, all this one is one big long lot that they're trying to subdivide into a couple different lots to get, I believe, family members or want to buy separate lots to build houses there. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Okay. Any questions from commissioners to the city? No. Mr. Leidick?
A couple things I think that need to be mentioned on this particular tract. When we met with city staff, there were some recommendations that staff made that this property owner would have to do in order to get this subdivision up to standards. And the two principal things was the 20-foot ingress egress easement that you see there will be surfaced with base course and all surface roadway. And then all the utilities, sewer, water, power will all have to be extended to provide service to each of these three tracks. It's kind of a landlocked piece of land, as you can see there. It doesn't front on Brady, and it doesn't really front on Sycamore Street down to the bottom. So it's just kind of a piece, if we could get that approved through there, I think it would improve access for that whole area once we get that ingress egress easement all the way through.
And Mr. Chair, just for y'all's information, the ingress egress easement will remain private. The city of Clovis will not be responsible for maintaining that roadway itself.
So the,
Neither now nor
In the future? Yeah.
Yeah, correct. And so it's an easement only for access.
so the property owners are aware of this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah. Is anybody from the audience here to speak on this specific item? Anticipation is building on what y'all are here for. Okay.
Move to
So-
approve.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. You can all roll, please, ma'am.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Klein,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Garza.
Yes.
4-0, the motion is approved. We're going to move to item E. So this is discussion and recommendation regarding a zone change for Providence subdivision, Unit 2, from R7 Residential Single Family to CG Commercial General. Pete, what do you got on that?
I believe we skipped one.
Oh, we did? Oh, sorry. Item D, discussion recommendation regarding replat of Iris Harbor subdivision, Unit 5. Sorry, let's do that one.
Thank you. Thank you. That one is on page 21 of your packet. And what they're doing there is just extending the Iris Harbor subdivision up into Unit 5. And there's no compelling evidence that would be a threat to health, safety, and welfare. All property owners within 100 feet were notified. And again, we had zero protest.
On that.
So with that, I'm sure Chad has some.
Okay. Come on, Chad.
Thank you. What this is if you'll remember back, Iris Harbor subdivision had a few units developed in it a number of years ago. Within the recent past, we did unit number 4, which is along Arbor Drive. And now this will be Unit 5, which is the next unit just to the north of that. And it will allow for Boss Court to be extended on out. And then Iris Arbor Drive will be extended northerly to intersect with that. And it's in total compliance with the preliminary plat. We finished the street and sewer plans. They've all been reviewed by city staff and approved. So this is just another orderly development within this whole master plan for this area. And the key part of it is that these streets that have been landlocked, we're going to be able to extend them on west now, connect with Iris Arbor Drive, and bring them down to Arsenega. So it'll all work real well. Okay. And it's all single-family residential.
Okay. Do you have any questions? Okay. Anybody from the audience here to speak on this one? All right. Do I have a motion?
I move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. You can go roll, please, ma'am.
Commissioner Klein,
Abstain.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes. And motion approved. All right, so finally, this is E, discussion and recommendation regarding a zone change for Providence subdivision Unit 2 from R7 Residential Single Family to CG Commercial General. Mr. Wilt, what you got?
Thank you. This is on page 27 of your packet. The request for approval of the zone change, Providence Unit 2 from residential to commercial, meets the standards of our Unified Development Ordinance, consistent with the comprehensive plan. Adjoining property owners within 100 feet were notified, and again, zero protest. There's no threat to public health, safety, and welfare, which is unique to the proposed request. And I believe Sacred Heart is the applicant. And from my understanding, they're doing this so that they can build a church on that property.
Do you have anything from the city on this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, and so, in just looking at the overall drainage of the property of court, and working with and talking with, Mr. Leidick, is the roadways, Providence Circle on the north end and then Providence Circle on the south end. The break point is there at Dominion Way, so water will flow towards their property. Of course, they'll be required to have their own stormwater retention plans once they develop the land itself, but just something for the applicants to know in the future that what they do have water, that's going to be coming towards them, that'll have to be conveyed.
Okay. Mr. Leidick, do you have anything on this that you want? Okay. All right, so we have any questions right now from the commission on this? Okay. Anybody from the public that wanted to speak on this item E? Yes, sir. Name and address for us.
Daniel Platt, 100 Providence Circle. My main question is that there are other churches in that area, and I understand that they are not commercial, they are still resident properties. And I was wondering why this needs to be commercial?
Okay.
For what reason? Okay. That's one of the questions that I have. Some of the other questions that I have has got to do with the development of the property. One of the things is that, like we all know, that, as was mentioned, we do have a water issue down in that area, coming across 21st, coming down Providence Circle into that area. Now, with that being said, I also understand that the state is going to have a drainage program on 21st one of these years, in the near future, hopefully, to solve that. Okay. Now, as this property is being developed, is that traffic retaining wall going to continue on? That's there on that property? Because it follows East 21st all the way to the block to the west of me, past my house, and then it stops at that utility alley.
Where's that at?
And Mr. Chairman, members of the board, that's the wall actually that separates the alleyway from a visual aesthetic standpoint coming off of 21st Street. That was put in by the original developers of the first unit of the Providence subdivision, and so that is not a requirement of the city of Clovis. So whatever the church ultimately does and how they develop the property, of course, they'll have to meet all of our uniform development ordinance requirements, and so that a screening like that is not a requirement of the city of Clovis nor our ordinances.
But the one that's up won't be touched. That's what we're saying.
Correct.
That's what
No,
you're
that'll
asking,
stay.
right?
Right.
Yeah, that should stay there.
Yeah,
That shouldn't be affected by this at all. No.
Okay. And then you already touched on the drainage issue coming down Providence Circle, and that's going to be up to the church to handle how that's going to be done.
When they develop the property, we'll have to work with them on how they develop that property to convey that drainage. Yes, sir.
Okay. And then also there's, we have some rodents in that area that are multiplying quite well.
Yeah, we'll have to work with our code enforcement officers in regards to the ordinances to work with them.
Because I know that it's also over there in the Christian school property also.
Correct.
Yeah, let's see here. What else I got in my notes here? And the other thing is that, is this going to commercial zoning? Is this dependent on the purchase of the property?
So I think that there are two questions, and I know that that has been discussed. Mr. Wilt, do we have anything on, I know that there's been some discussion that whenever as of right now, it changes to commercial. But if the church is not gonna get built for some reason, then it goes back to residential. Is that, or there's a move to go back to residential? Is there something on with that? Do we know?
The church can be built in a residential area. It's their prerogative, once they purchase the property, to change the zone. They can put a church in any zone.
So the move to make it commercial right now, what's the need for that, is what I'm asking. Can anybody here speak on that?
That was not disclosed to me.
Okay. The question was asked, so I was gonna get the question answered.
Because my question is that if it doesn't get sold, could it go back to residential zoning?
From what I understand, yes, but that's up to the landowners.
No. Once the property is rezoned, it will have that zoning designation unless another applicant came back in and changed that zoning designation.
To residential, right.
Correct.
So there could not be a stipulation in this purchase then?
No.
What you're
that's-
saying?
That's not how a zone change would work.
That if it doesn't get purchased,
Once we change the zone, it's changed.
Correct.
Unless somebody wants to come back and go through this procedure again and change it back, or change it to some other type of zone. So once the zone is changed, it is changed. The zone change goes with the property, not with the
Not with
owner.
the owner.
okay. Because I was looking at that, if this purchase does not go through, I'd hate to have it as commercial, and then we have some businesses and stuff trying to go in there. We've got a nice, quiet neighborhood in that area, and I'd like to keep it that way if possible.
Correct, understand that.
And I think if that was the case, it will have to come to us for approval. I'm talking about the city. If you have residents complaining about it, then it will come to the city commission to move forward with yes or no. So if somebody wants to put an Allsup's there with a gas station and on a residential area close by, I think it would be pretty hard to sell, in my opinion.
Okay. Thank you.
In my opinion.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak on this matter? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Katie Haynes Burns. I'm at 501 Commerce Way, Suite 1. And I may be able to shed a little bit of light, but not enough, onto why we're commercial. I was advised that we needed to change the zone when I talked to the city. I was advised we needed to change the zone from residential to commercial in order to build a church.
Okay.
And, Mr. Chairman, I'm looking at our use categories now, and so it depends on the seating capacity of the church. And so for a large seating capacity, so 200 or more seating, so I'm assuming that's going to be 200 or
Right.
more, then that's permitted within, sorry, I'm on a phone here, multifamily, commercial general, or central business district. So that size of facility itself actually is not permitted in a residential single-family RS 170 or an RS 70. So that is why the zone needs to be changed.
Got it.
Great.
Okay.
And beyond that, we just want to begin this journey to build our new church home. And we don't have any intention of doing anything other than that in the neighborhood. And we've got a purchase agreement with the seller that we've agreed that if we're not able to begin development within 5 years, he can buy it back and do whatever he wants with it. So we were trying to make everybody happy, and we don't want to have that be part of our, and I don't think legally it could be part of your all's decision. But that's what we want, and we're very excited. I think you can tell by the number of us that are here. We're really excited and hopeful and ready to get on with this part of what we've been hoping to do for a number of years. Any other
Did
questions?
you outgrow your other church?
We did.
I guess that's a good problem to have then.
It's a wonderful problem, and it's a very old structure. I went to kindergarten there, so you can tell, my gosh, it's like a artifact at this point. But, yeah, it's just necessary, and we're very excited about getting something started. Anything else?
Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else that wanted to talk about this item?
My name is Father Franklin. I'm the pastor of Sacred Hearts. Just to add to what my parishioner Kairis just said, we intend to build, church-related buildings, in the area. It's not as if, Walmart or Upsource is going to come in, but just to build a place we can have to worship and to serve God. And to Mr. Daniel, it's going to be a blessing, to you, to live among, God's dwelling place. So we tend to make it commercial too, because in the past we have had problems with neighbors, who try to be antagonistic, to parishioners. So I think that's another reason why it's good to be a commercial area. But it doesn't mean we're going to have companies coming to the area. It's going to be a very peaceful and very good neighborhood, and it will bring justice and fairness, to people living, and we're going to have good neighbors. So I'm assuring it's going to be church-related buildings and nothing more than that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else that'd like to speak on this item today? Yes, sir.
My name is Sean Little. I'm at 2125 Enlow. So I want to speak on on behalf of the church and behalf of Daniel there. I also live in the neighborhood. I live just a couple blocks away from Daniel. And, one of the concerns of that neighborhood for me is safety. I know that the sellers of that property, they don't have any intentions of growing that property with where they're at right now in their life. So with that in the works, that property right now is being used by teenagers and adolescents to ride their dirt bikes and their four-wheelers, and they're right there on 21st Street. So to me, that poses a concern. That's as far as the neighborhood goes. As far as the church goes, safety is still the main aspect of it. And, Sacred Heart is an old church, like Katie was saying, but it's also, we have a lot of kids after dark for Wednesday night classes, and that becomes a concern for safety when there's that many kids after dark in a neighborhood that's not monitored as well as maybe some others. So I just wanted to bring that attention up, that this benefits safety in so many different areas, and I'd just like for you guys to take that into consideration.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, seeing none.
I move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can you call roll, please, ma'am?
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Klein.
Yes.
The motion passes 4-0.
Just for the record, Mr. Chairman, I'm a parishioner there, and have no monetary gain other than spiritual gain.
We're going to move on to item F today. Discussion and recommendation for a street name change from Sunshine Circle to David Petty Circle in the Morningstar subdivision. Mr. Wilt, what do you have?
On page 34 of your packet, the request came from the Faith Christian Church, would like to change the name of the street from Sunshine Circle that is on the existing plat right now to David Petty Circle. He has been instrumental in building their church and one of the founding fathers of that church. And they're in the process of putting utilities into that subdivision, so they figured this would be the best time to do that before any residents are actually built there. So all they're gonna be out is some, street signs. And with that, I will stand for any questions.
Any questions, commissioners?
I don't have no issues. If staff recommendation is right on, then I move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can you call roll, please, ma'am?
Commissioner Garza,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Klein,
Absolutely.
Commissioner Moore.
Yes.
And the motion passes 4-0. Item G, discussion and recommendation regarding a replat of Lot 1, Fairfield Unit 1 subdivision. Mr. Wilt.
Thank you. Page 39 of your packet, Fairfield Unit 1 was a subdivision that they're trying to get some use out of the southern portion of that, and they're gonna put in two lots, two buildable lots, I believe, for multifamily dwellings that they're gonna sell to somebody and so that they can develop that. And zero protest within 100 feet and no threat to public health, safety, and welfare.
Any questions for the city? All right, Mr. Leidig.
Thank you. The only comment I would have on this is just to, if some of you weren't here a few months ago, this particular tract of land came before planning and zoning for the appropriate zone change, which it was granted at that time. And so now they're ready to plat and develop. So they've come up, there'll be two multifamily structures in there on the two lots as you see. So all the utilities are in place and ready to be extended, so shouldn't be any trouble with anything.
All right. Any questions? Anybody here to speak on this specific item? No? All right. Do I have a
Move to
motion?
approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Can call roll, please, ma'am?
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Klein,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Garza.
Yes.
4-0, the motion passes. Last item today, item H, discussion and recommendation regarding a replat of lots 3 through 4, Norris Street Business Park subdivision. Mr. Wilt.
This one's on page 45. What this is a replat of the North Street Business Park. This is gonna be on the 7th Street side of that subdivision. And the owners are wanting to put in a cul-de-sac for, I believe it's multifamily units going in there. They have utilities in the top two lots up there. And there is, what is it? All the property owners were notified within 100 feet with no protest.
Zero protest, okay. Any questions from commissioners? Mr. Leidig.
Thank you. This is an interesting little development that's being proposed. I'd like to just take a minute to run through it with you. We have been working closely with city staff on this and all of our utility company representatives because, as you can see, what this is a replat of two lots in that North Street Business Park. Where this sits is just to the northeast of the family, or the
Dollar General.
Dollar General, I get them mixed up, Dollar General that's out there. And the tracts to the east, or to the west of here are developed as single-family residential, been there a long time. And this lot, as you can see, there's an alley on the south. There's an easement that goes right through the middle of it, and that's where the water reuse line is. So that, we had to take that into account. And then at the very north end there, before you get to 7th Street, is a double main gas line that goes through there. So as you can see, we'll have that as open area. We won't have any development at all occurring in that particular area. And then all lots will front upon this one cul-de-sac. They are going to be zoned for multifamily, like was said. And then the tract to the west there, there's been some discussion on what we could do with that. And you see I've got a garage unit structure in there. And I think the best way, I've been visiting with city staff and with Mr. Howalt, we'll probably make that lot 11 as a part of this, but it will not contain any residential development. It'll be just simply for garages for the residents within this area, because it's kind of an odd shape. It's hard to do anything with that particular piece of land. So I think that's going to be the best usage, and entrance into that will be from the private ingress egress easement that you see over there along the west side. So with that being said, all the utilities are actually adjacent and can be easily extended and looped around this particular development to provide service to every lot. Is there any questions you may have? And oh, one final thing, you see we do have a stormwater retention basin in the southeast corner that will accept the runoff from this cul-de-sac from entering any of the adjacent properties. So it should be very little impact to anything else in that area. Thank you.
And wait, hold on 1 second, one question for you. The lot 5, is that what you were saying, where's the retention basin at? It's lot 5, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, all right, I just saw it, just making sure.
And all lots, what we've been doing around town in a lot of these residential areas, I'll just remind you, it works really well in that we're making everybody put in a solid footing fence around the perimeter of the lots. And so what that does is it turns every lot into its own small retention basin as well. So we don't get the runoff lot to lot to lot. So the majority of what you'll have runoff enter that basin would be the front half of the lot and the street itself. Okay. Nothing will enter from 7th Street.
Perfect. Is there anybody here today to comment on this last item with us today? Nope. Okay, do we have any questions?
Motion approved.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call roll one last time, please.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Klein.
Yes.
Okay, that includes our new business. There is no future agenda items. Do we have anything for the good of the order from anybody or the city? We are good. Yes, yes, ma'am. Name and address, please.
Desiree Barras, 816 East Grand Avenue.
Yes, ma'am.
I had put in for a zone change for 816 East Grand to change it from residential to commercial.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have
Y'all
that on
didn't
the
get the
agenda today.
paperwork on it.
Pete, do you know anything about it?
816,
Yes, let me get it for you.
Yes, Grant.
I don't have anything on that, but I can definitely get that on, what is today? I can get that in as quick as I can. I can hopefully get it in next month's agenda, but I haven't seen that.
So if you'll file that with Mr. Will and the city, then we will get that on for the agenda for next month.
Yes, I had filed it since April 13th. Last month, y'all had canceled May 10th meeting here. And so I waited another month, so now I'm gonna have to wait another month.
Okay,
That was back when Les was here.
okay.
I've been here for a month
Right.
doing this now, so.
It was the old guy.
Let us look into it and Mr. Chairman, members of the board, if we need to get all our notice requirements sent back out, I would say that could entertain scheduling a special meeting, so that we could address this.
Yes.
Is that east or west Grand?
East.
Okay. So we will,
Yeah.
as Mr. Hobart said, we'll look in that today and see what we can get done to get the notices out as quick as we can, and then convene a special meeting so we can get your, get a quick turnaround and get it approved.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And we apologize for that. Anything else for the good of the order?
Can I get a copy of that? Can I get a picture of that so I can?
Okay, next meeting will be 3 o'clock Wednesday, July 12th, 2023, in the North Annex, Clovis Carver Library, 701 North Main. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. We are adjourned.